Hi, my name is Tanya and welcome to my small backyard vegetable garden here in central Victoria. Today is finally the day I get this tank filled and some strawberries planted in it. I have managed to gather everything I need. I've had to do a couple of trips to Bunnings to get enough potting mix and cow manure to move on with the job. And I've managed to find aggregate and sand we had left over from putting up our front fence. So I am now moving on and placing the sand and aggregate in the bottom, mixed through the terracotta. I've actually put the aggregate across the holes so that can sort of slow down anything seeping through them, and the sand is going to be washed down through the terracotta pieces. I'm sort of aiming for sort of like a wicking bed type situation. I don't think it's a true wicking bed, but so that the terracotta can be in the sand, there is a little reservoir of water at the base, and it can all sort of wick up into the soil and hopefully keep the strawberries happy through the warmer times of the year. This is a bit of a trial. I have a few more big tubs like this, so this is the trial one. I've never done this before. Other pots or tubs that I have like this, I had put holes in the base of them. This, I wanted to use what was there. I didn't want to put holes in the base and have the water just run straight through along with any nutrients and everything out of the soil. So this is the test case. What I'm hoping for is that it won't become too boggy, but enough liquid or water when you water or when it rains will get away. But also there will be a little bit stored at the base so that the potting mix doesn't completely dry out. As you can see, it is getting away out those holes really well. My husband drilled all those holes for me. It was a bit of a tedious job, but he's used to doing metal work, so it was very handy. I've put the aggregate across those holes, and I had a heap of broken terracotta pots. I put in a community post and showed those. That covered the bottom completely. I've put sand in and then washed the sand through most of the terracotta so that the terracotta sits in the actual sand. Like I said, I have never done this before, so I am waiting to see if this works so I can then move on with the other tubs that I have. In between me hosing that in, I went off and did a few other things and came back, and that seeped away very well. So I'm moving on with filling it full of potting mix. It takes a few bags to fill it. I mean, it's not overly big, but it's a decent size, and I certainly want to be cautious about filling it and how I'm doing it, making sure the water gets away, because I do not want to have to empty this. It is, like I said, the test one for, or the trial case for the next couple of tubs I have. I am wanting to fill another one, and it is probably twice as big as this. So I've added lots of potting mix at the bottom, just the basic one, and then I have filled with cow manure, and we had some mushroom compost left over from the garden beds. I'm just packing it down a little bit because I know it will sink a fair bit. I am thinking I will have to lift all the strawberries after summer and probably fill up with another couple of bags of manure and mushroom compost and then replant into them. But while potting mix is soaking up some of the moisture, I am going to move on with this little front border. I'm going to put out the rest of this mushroom compost along there so I can get the garlic replanted and move towards getting this finished. So I'm top dressing, making sure not to go too close to the graft on the apple trees, trying to keep it back. They have sunk a little bit compared to the wall, but I'm just going to work around that. Get that mushroom compost all over the garlic. I'm not too worried if I lose the garlic. It's just an added bonus if that grows. I've got some cow manure I'm putting out to top dress it with. I'll get a few things planted and then I will put a bit of straw over all of it. So my aim is to have the garlic, some of the garlic go back in here. So there's plenty of garlic there. I can use it for the green leaves, the scapes, or pull the garlic later on. I'm going to plant the alpine strawberries along here because they do not run. They bunch and grow, but they do not send out runners as far as I know. So I'm going to put those along there because they're nice little strawberries to pick. And here they are now. I'm just going to trim them all back, trim the roots. These came out of, you may remember through summer, I had 2 terracotta troughs sitting along this wall under the shade of the apple tree, and I picked from them a lot, and they were in a very confined space in those troughs, but they still produce. So I'm hoping they will love it here in the garden. This is how easily they divide. You just pull them apart like that. So I've got 6 and I'm just going to do 2 lots of 3. I do want to have some perennials and flowers along here, and I am hoping to pull up the bedding dahlias that I had in pots during summer and plant them through that garden bed. But for now, I'm going to dig up these 2 salvias that I'd taken cuttings for. They have a very deep bluey purple flower and they are quite beautiful. So I'm going to plant those along there. I'm just trying to mix flowers in where I can to complement the vegetables and bring the bees in. The root system on these plants, they were really enjoying that pot. So I hope to get a few more cuttings in this pot, maybe a few more of these. So I've got 2 of these here. I mean, they've just been growing. This is the great thing about perennials and doing cuttings. They've just been sitting there growing away, and to go and buy 2 plants of similar size, you'd have to be paying $13 to $15 each. And when I was at Bunnings, I picked up a punnet of parsley because I like to have that planted along the front of the asparagus bed. Now I'm just going to squeeze as many strawberry plants into this big tub as I can. Some of the plants are more mature like that one. Other ones are just little runners that have just grown roots. So it's going to be a variety of different sizes and we'll just see how it goes. Although there isn't as much space going across for this many strawberries, they do have a good depth for their roots, so I'm hoping that sort of makes up for it and they grow okay. I'm very happy to see a couple of spears of asparagus coming through. Asparagus season has begun. I hope that all the rest of my plants are okay and have not rotted in the ground. I am looking forward to picking asparagus again. The red pak choi is growing really well. I planted the green pak choi from the seed snails in here. The cosmic purple carrots I sowed just a couple of weeks ago. I have taken the hessian off for a few days while they dry off after all that rain. I put the jars over the turnips to help settle them in. They've been on there for a couple of days and I will remove those and cover the green pak choi. I've decided to run a little trial with the purple cauliflower. I've untied half, which is 4. I have left 4 with the leaves tied up around them to see if it makes a difference with the colour that they end up growing into. They are at all different stages. And this broccoli bambino was definitely worth planting. I have been picking from this most days and adding it into some meal either of an evening or frying it up with my eggs of a morning. It has been so delicious. I have totally enjoyed it. I'm so glad I pulled out those early tomatoes. The snow peas are all flowering. I have picked the odd little pod And these Brussels sprouts, they can't be too far from being picked. I might not let them get fully grown. I will be picking them. These mini white cauliflowers are a lot of leaves, so many leaves. And I took a whole heap of leaves off the bottom so they weren't trying to sustain a heap of leaves. There's a little cauliflower in there, and they're all at different stages as well. The purple cabbages are starting to heart up. They've got a firmer center. This one here, more so advanced. I've got beetroot and rainbow chard. The cosmic purple carrots are starting to size up under the ground, and the red onions. I've got purple sprouting broccoli here that can't be too far away from starting to pick. Some more purple than others. And the ornamental kale or cabbages just continue to delight me. The color is just magic. Snow peas, I have picked the smaller pods. Hopefully that will encourage all these flowers to get moving. So happy to have put in so many peas along here. These ones along this side of the arch I will be allowing to go into pods. The peas and the sugar snap peas the other side I am picking solely for pea shoots. I add them into anything and everything. They are delicious. As you can see, there's many snapped off pieces.